If you turn this video off in the first 2 seconds, you don't get it. You just don't get it. You're actually going to be going through life building transactions, one thing after another, and wondering why you never have really long-term relationships or why somebody isn't invested in you. You know, this is the kind of thing you get when you develop depth. It's great to go wide. It's great to know a lot of people, but knowing a lot of people does nothing if you don't know who they are, what they stand for, what makes them click, what are the things that you could do to help them, how can you add value to their lives, what are the things that people really need from you, your unique ability. That's where depth comes in. That's where value comes in. That's where deep friendships, deep client relationships, and honestly, deep marriages and partners come from. Life's best relationships are built on trust. They're not built on transactions. Maybe they start with a transaction. Maybe you don't know somebody and you do business together. You buy a car from someone and the person was so awesome that you trade information, that you end up connecting on a different level. Maybe you find out you both like the same sports team and you end up going out to a game sometime, or your kids play soccer together. I mean, whatever it is, life can start with transactions, but it's how you rebuild to a new level of trust that really forms the deep connection, building the relationship. See, in the financial advisory world, in our practice, there are people that will have a relationship with money and only your money. And there are advisors, really great advisors, that will want to know about your life. I did an appointment earlier this week and we were sitting down and talking, and the person started going into the money that they had and exactly what we need to do with the money. I've never met them before. I don't know anything about them. And I let them finish talking respectfully, of course, and then I said, well, can we talk about you for a minute? Can I learn about you? Tell me about your life. Where did you retire from? Are you retired? Are you married? Are you doing certain things in your spare time? How about your kids? Do you have grandkids? Do you travel? Where have you been? I mean, it really starts with understanding what the money was going to be doing for the person's life. That was part of that. If I were just transaction driven, it would have been really quick. I would have said, oh, great, we could do this for the money, we could do that for the money, and that was the end of it. But it's so much bigger than my business. It's so much bigger than just what our business is about, transaction versus trust. Everything we do in life is built on trust. Your best relationships. You know, the unique thing is your personality may dictate whether trust is the first thing you need or the second thing. Analytical, task-driven individuals, so I use the DISC personality assessments all the time. The D's and the C's are your task individuals, and they tend to be a little more analytical, a little more results driven. You know, they prefer to know you're good at what you do before they trust you. They actually want to see the result before they trust you. The people on the other side of the spectrum, the more people-driven, extroverted individuals on the I side or the S side, where they're the servant leaders, they have to trust you and like you to gain that trust. Trust is gained by likability. Do I have a connection with this person? It's built on the connection. Then they can listen to what you're trying to offer them. And if you understand that about a relationship, well, what you realize is literally most of the time, if you lead with people, you're going to win. Think of your doctor, okay? Doctors are amazing people. They save us, and we are so grateful for them, especially in the last year and a half. But let's use a doctor. Doctors sometimes come in and they lay it out for you right away. You have this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is what we're going to do. And man, how different would that relationship be for most of us if the doctor walked in and said, hey Scott, how are you? How's your family? Your kids still playing soccer? What's going on in your world? And they took 2 minutes to lead with people. And then they said, hey, this is what's going on. I know that's going to be a challenge for you. Empathize, deliver the message, build some trust. That relationship, that medical relationship goes well beyond the transaction. I'm not just at that doctor just for them to tell me what's wrong. Yeah, that's the result I'm looking for, but I really want to know that they understand me. They understand what that result may mean in my life. That's a deeper connection. When you talk to someone, are you waiting to speak so you can tell them what's important to you? Or are we actually hearing what's important to them? How we can help them in some aspect? What are the very things that build trust? And these are sometimes challenging things. They're great for marriage. It's great to actually remember that trust is earned and it's built, but it doesn't stop. Like sometimes you have to reset and rebuild. Marriages are long-term things, right? 20 years, 30 years. I have clients that come in all the time and they've been married 50, 60 years. I can tell you that the trust continuum has gotten deeper. What they say to each other, how they talk to each other, what they've learned from each other is the depth of the connection to get to 50 or 60 years. It wasn't based on one person getting one person to the next thing. And that's transactions are really one of those things where I always feel dirty. If you make it about a transaction and all you want out of me is just what I can give you, it just makes me feel gross. It makes me feel like you don't care about the person. You don't care about what we're offering. And I think I always say my give a darn factor is like 1,000%. And so if you and I are sitting across from each other and I really, really care about what we're talking about and I genuinely care about the result we're trying to get for you, and it's not business, it's life. We're talking about your child, or we're talking about, a family situation, or we're talking about something where I'm trying to add value. I want to know that we care about what the other person's talking about. I want to know that there's a connection of some sort. That's how I live. That's how I believe that most people find trust. Not just, let me solve this problem for you right now. Now, I can build a lot of trust by helping solve problems as long as I remember it's not transaction driven. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with transactions. Look, I'm going to give you the perfect example. Every Dale Carnegie example you've ever seen of the person at a networking event that comes up to you with the name tag in the perfect spot and the fake handshake and the smile at the wrong spot and the mechanical robot arm that extends to you, and they're like, I need to meet this person. This person's going to help me get to the next level of my career. And that's what you feel the second you shake their hand. That's a transaction-driven individual. Now, does that mean they're always going to be that? No. Sometimes we're hungry and young. I can tell you, I probably came across like that at 23 years old, knocking on doors and trying to build a business from nothing. But people taught me, as I hope people learn from a video like this, or they learn through experiences, that fake robot style book result that you read about is not what you're doing. You're going up to meet people. Networking and building relationships is all built on trust, something bigger than yourself. Trust is built on giving. It's really built on me giving something of myself to you, and you then trust me more. That's the kind of thing that real business is built on. I always say, and I've said it a million times in our videos, when we're teaching or training new financial advisors, or I'm consulting in business, or we're talking about building someone's business to a different level, it all starts the same way. Build the community, then the business will grow. But everybody kind of mixes it up. They kind of think that build the business and then you'll be a part of the community. It's the opposite. Community is just another word for your surroundings, the people, the relationships, the network, the individuals or companies or entities of which you're doing business with, yes, but it's your people. If you build trust with all those individuals, it's not transaction driven at all. And everybody wants to be in business with you, and they know that you mean what you say, and they know that you're a part of the community in a different way, in a bigger way. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. So if you get that robot handshake one time, and you get that fake smile, and you feel like the person at the other end is not really investing in you, they just want to know how they can get something out of you, don't be afraid to take a few minutes and teach them a couple of things about building trust. You know how you do that? Humbly, you just show them how you're going to give to them. You teach them a lesson through example. Leadership through example. You don't have to break them down. You don't have to tell them how bad they're doing. You just need to show them what they could be doing differently. And the reality is, anyone watching this video through this point is someone that's so in tune and in depth with that style of life, that style of relationships, that you get it. You just get it. If you turn this video off in the first 2 seconds, you don't get it. You just don't get it. You're actually going to be going through life building transactions, one thing after another, and wondering why you never have really long-term relationships or why somebody isn't invested in you. You know, this is the kind of thing you get when you develop depth. It's great to go wide. It's great to know a lot of people, but knowing a lot of people does nothing if you don't know who they are, what they stand for, what makes them click, what are the things that you can do to help them, how can you add value to their lives, what are the things that people really need from you, your unique ability. That's where depth comes in. That's where value comes in. That's where deep friendships, deep client relationships, and honestly, deep marriages and partners come from. I'm Scott Danner. Today we talked about trust, the trusting relationship versus the transaction and the transaction relationship. Which one do you think is better? Thanks for joining me.